Hey guys, so today I'll be starting and introducing a new series I'll be starting on my channel, which is basically just a series of videos on how to improve and get faster on Megaminx. So it's not going to be really how to get sub X, like how to get sub 1 or something like that, because I don't want, I guess, people to like see it and think that like it's only like for getting sub 1, or like if they're like really not even close to getting sub 1 that they won't be able to learn from it, because it's really just a guide. If like, unless you already like know all these tips, that like it's just a guide that most people will be able to learn from and be able to just improve from it no matter what speed you are. And it won't necessarily get you a certain speed, but if you just use some of these tricks and some of the techniques I'm going to teach you, then it just might make your solves faster and not necessarily to a certain speed. But yeah, so for anyone wondering, I average around like 59 seconds, around there, to like a minute, around 101, somewhere around there. So I'm definitely like far from world class. Get started with the first episode, which is just gonna be Megaminx Star. So first off, I recommend that you pick the same star color each time, so you aren't color neutral. There are pretty fast people who are color neutral, like Robert Yao. He's color neutral in Megaminx, and I'm pretty sure he's sub 1. So it's definitely not something that will like hold you back, but it could like make it a little harder to get faster, and it just might be easier to use the same star color each time. So yeah, I personally use white. So if you are currently color neutral or something, or you just don't know what color to do, if you want to follow along with this series, just do white, I guess. Okay, so one big tip while inspecting is to use inspection as like much as you can. So you just want to try to plan out as much as your star as you can. If you want, not necessarily see what your first pair is going to be, but just try to like see where some pieces are going to end up, so you can have a good idea of where your first pair is going to be, so you're not going to have a big pause in between your star and the beginning of your F12. So I look at here, and then just one big tip: you don't want to insert each piece one by one. Like, you don't want to like do something like that and just insert that. A big thing you can do is, if you put this piece down, this white and yellow edge, you can see that it's just one move away from being matched up with its center, which is what you want. Now what you can do is match up other edges like that. Like, for example, if we have the blue edge right here, we could take that, and now you want to try to be as efficient as possible, which is something that you just need a lot of practice with. Like, at first you might do something like that, then just insert like that. But what you can do is something like this. And so you want that blue because there's blue right here. So then when you move this over, you have these two matching here and these two matching right there. So you see this is red, and you want to plan as much as you can in inspection. Now, of course, it's very hard to do all of it, but just as much as you can. So then you'd see you have red here, so you want to get the red right over here. But it's already right here, so instead of like putting it into there, what I do is just then fix that, and then do that. Now I just want to get each piece in the correct slot. Now I'd look for the last two, and what I want to do, instead of like inserting that one into there and then inserting that one in there, you kind of want to do it at the same time. So for example, this might not be the most efficient thing, but you could do something like this. And like, so bring this over to here, and then instead of putting that in, then inserting that. This is a tip you can use for 3x3 as well. Just bring this over, so when you put this down, this is only one move away. And then what you want to do is, I didn't really show a demonstration of it there, but you do want to like see where some of the pieces might end up. But for here, there's a lot of options you could do for F12, so it'd be pretty easy to transition. But we're not going over F12 in this video, just star. But you could just see how you want to have a good transition, because that still has to do with star. So I'm just going to show another example. So just another quick example of the technique shown in the last clip of just having the edges solved in like relative to each other. So before it was a little easier to see, as this one was just one move away from going over there. But you have to keep in mind that like it's not just for when it's one move over. You could see how this is two moves over, like something like that. And you could see if you next to the right of that red edge is green. So to the right of this red, or to the right of this red center is green. So right to this red edge you want a green. So you could insert that. Purple here, so you want purple right there. And then yellow here. And what you want to do is try to get used to your color scheme. Now I know that like yellow would be next to purple, like over to here. So I won't have to look at that center. So you just want to get used to that. So you can just put that yellow in there while putting this blue in. And then do a star like that. So I'm just going to show a quick example of a star and what I do in this case and how I can kind of try to look for my first pair. So first, to try to see your first pair, and as I said before, you don't necessarily need to see how you're going to do it, but just what it is, so that you know what pieces to look for, and like you probably going to want to like know like the general vicinity of where the pieces are going to be. So for this star, I'd see that I have this green here, and it's one move over to the left to put it with its center. So I'd see that purple needs to go there, and I want to do these two as my first pair because I know that during my star I don't think this is going to move at all, and this isn't going to move too much, or at least it'll be easy to track. So what I do is I'd put this purple into there, and then I know that this yellow would go into there. And then I also have an idea of how I do these, just like something like that, then put in there. So I can pretty much plan out my whole, I can plan out my whole star, and I'd keep in mind of where this is. So I take this down there and solve those three. See that that's still there. And I know that this is still up there. So then this did move, which I wasn't really paying much attention to. So I couldn't quite do the rest how I wanted to. So it shows that I still like need to work on some things. So this is just another example. I just want to see where all your pieces are gonna go. So I see when I move this these two are gonna come over to here. So and then I know that during the rest of the star they're not gonna move at all. So I know my first pair are gonna be these two. So while I'm doing the rest of the star like this, I can kind of have an idea of what I'm gonna do for the next pair, which is something like I'll know that I can go right into that. So I'm gonna do another example star solve because I feel like just doing more examples can show like how to solve like more cases. And something like this, I see that I have this yellow piece here that I could just easily put into there like that, but I actually wouldn't do that. Instead, I'd do something else, and I'd keep in mind this pair on the back. I don't know if I'll be able to do something good with it, but I do. It's kind of hard to track pairs on Megaminx, but I do want to keep that in mind. But what I do for this is to do something more efficient. Instead of putting this in, which would most people do, and then they'd solve the rest, I'd put this over here, and I know that this has to go to the right to go there. And then over here is a red, so I know that red needs to go into there, so I do that. Put this in here, and then I'd probably look over here, and yeah, I see that green needs to go all the way over here, so that's kind of hard to do. So I just put this and put that in, and then green only needs to go into here. It doesn't need to move as far, and this edge ended up staying there so far, and this corner is gonna move too. But what I'd probably do is I'd put this in here, so then I could solve these two like this, and then I can see that this pair is gonna build up like that, and then I'd like kind of transition to that. So that's starting F2L. But the thing is, during star, you still want to be able to plan out what you're gonna do during F2L, which is kind of leading into F2L, but still a big part of star in my opinion.